welcome back to another Tera Plays Tera video. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to go over, finally, should you run Annihilation or Season Gear? What is better? And the first thing to ask yourself is, what is your current gear and what are your current goals? Because if your current gear is lower than Annihilation, I'm gonna tell you, run Season Gear. Basically what I'm gonna suggest is you use your lower gear to get as much Season Dust as you can, and then spam that Season Dust into your Season Gear and get it as high leveled as you can. And the reason being is just because once you're at plus 35 Season Gear, that is the same item level as plus 9 Annihilation. And if you're not at plus 9 Annihilation, Season Gear is going to level up faster. It is guaranteed. So for instance, just to go from 35 to 36, 300,000 gold, 53,000 Season Dust. We'll get into broken shards in a little bit. Fluorite and diamonds. While this looks expensive, look at that 100% chance. That is throughout the whole thing. And honestly, it starts getting expensive once you push into the 30s to 35, and then 35 to 36 skyrockets in price. But the thing is that just about every dungeon, besides a Goof Na Hard, gives Season Dust. So you can spam all of these lower dungeons to get yourself Season Dust and really push your item level super fast. Now, if you're like, you know, how I was, and you're someone with plus 9 Annihilation set, then you might want to run Annihilation until you at least get plus 35. Because once you're at plus 35, then it equals, and then as soon as you get plus 36, now you actually get a damage increase. Again, Season Gear this season, just like last season, all three armors have increased skill damage by 3%. So this is where I'm gonna say you will want to definitely run Season Armor, and then choose weapon. It depends. So since I had a plus 9 weapon, I did not decide to run. I haven't even opened my season weapon for the warrior. The only reason for me to level that weapon would be just to dismantle it at the end of the season and claim extra rewards. So the thing is that the weapon, the season weapon, doesn't get that roll that, you know, the armors get. They don't get that plus 3 or increased skill damage by 3%. All they get is the additional, you know, 4% damage rolls. So technically, a plus 9 weapon is 1% less than what a plus 40 weapon is. But now that Annihilation Gear goes up to 15, once it hits level 10, that damage boost by 2% blows out every 40 season weapon. So this is where, if you don't have an Annihilation weapon, I would recommend leveling the season weapon so that you can farm more dungeons and put the materials into your regular weapon to get it to Annihilation, and try to rush that weapon to plus 9 if you can. Season Armor is where it gets a bit more complicated, because while Season Armor has the increased skill damage by 3%, it also gives you at 40 an additional 4% damage, so that's about 7% extra damage. Now, skill damage by 3% is actually calculated different than just regular damage. It does have a slight different damage modulation. I don't know how to really explain the math behind it, but it is different. The thing is that Annihilation to 15 armor doesn't give you any extra damage, it gives you other rolls. So the chest gives you endurance, while the gloves gives you critical hit rate boost, and the boots give you crit resistant factor. So this is where the game gets a little interesting. And it depends on what you want to do, and it depends on, you know, what your goals are. And that's why I said, obviously, if you don't have Annihilation gear, I wholeheartedly just would say boost the season gear up to overtake your item level, and then run all content you can with season gear and start then leveling both gear sets, because that season gear is meant to help you catch up to players who've been playing. Season gear is something you can level up very high, very quickly to play all the content. Now, the devs stated they do not want season gear being the gear that's ran for Last Stand and leaderboard dungeons. So they've made this concept that they do believe that the damage boost on weapon, which wholeheartedly that is the best option, that damage boost, especially for healers and for DPS and tanks, that is your red gem. That's the same boost as this. So that 100% is the go-to. But as far as endurance and crit resist factor go, I'm gonna be honest, I am going to try to run season gear throughout Last Stand, because I would personally rather have that extra 4% plus 3% damage than those two rolls, because damage is just better in my opinion. Now, if Rampaging RK9 truly hits so freaking hard that the only way to live is with Annihilation plus 15, then you're gonna have to level it. But I've always went with a factor on Tera: hit the boss harder, don't die, don't get hit, be a glass cannon, don't eat mechanics if you actually have to do them, or kill the boss before he does mechanics. I think season gear is going to be able to maybe accomplish that. That's not to say the devs won't change it. They may reduce it, they may change it to force us to do Annihilation 15 only. But, you know, I'm going off the fact that season chest and boots will probably be better. Gloves is the wild card, because my crit factor is a bit high on Warrior. It's a bit higher than what it should maybe be, due to I have a crit etching on my ring. I think it's 14. And most all my scythes and aerial scythes are critting on Hagufna, but occasionally my blade draw's not. Now, Warrior, typically 75% blade draw crit is what you want, but that's Hagufna hard. That's not RK9 and not Rampaging RK9. So if you're a class that really needs heavy crit, you might want to consider getting your gloves to plus 15, and you may want to play with 15 gloves and then season gear gloves 40 and see really what is better, because that truly is the only thing that it can say might be a wild card, is getting that extra crit from gloves. Now, I can say for my Warrior, I am missing a ton of blue crit cards. So I'm missing about probably 40 some crit there. And I could re-roll some things that I don't need power to. I could roll that to be crit 6, I think. Same thing with my belt. Same thing with my other ring. Same thing with my brooch. I can still gain quite a bit of crit just from my rolls, as well as cards, as well as if I really even need more etchings. So personally, I would rather roll those for crit and still keep the possible damage boost that I get from my gloves before needing to roll plus 15 gloves. Same thing, I don't have a blue 10. That's even more critical hit boost, or, you know, critical hit rate. So it's a little hard for me to say 100%, but what I can comfortably say is that unless they do something crazy with Rampaging RK9, I think plus 15 weapon and plus 40 season armor is going to be the go-to for most damage. Now, if you want to be tankier and you want to eat mechanics, well then go ahead, get all your Annihilation armor to 15. Personally, I am going to try and get that to 15. After all of this is 40, and after this is 15, I will then focus on this, because still yet, having everything Annihilation at the end of the season will give me the highest gear score possible, and therefore allows me to run all dungeon content for Season 3. So it's still good to farm and get your Annihilation to 15. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying consider your options. As well as there is the Guardian or the Season shop. You can buy all the stuff. Everything should reset again, from Season 1 to Season 2. Everything reset. There is a good chance that Season 2 to Season 3, everything will reset, and they're probably going to add more options, as this Transcending Training Book Exchange coin was not in the shop last season, along with the Rare Exchange coin was not in the shop. So do look forward to them updating the shop, and actually some of these stuff wasn't in the shop either, so quite a few things were added, so expect a few things to be added next season shop. Therefore making it, getting level 40 season gear is kind of just worth just for the rewards from the shop, and it could honestly still be stronger gear. The devs have stated they really don't want it to be the stronger gear set, so don't be mad at me in 2 months if these things change and the developers make, Annihilation armor stronger. It is a good chance they may do something on that side of things to make people want to run Annihilation gear over season gear. But again, it really depends what you, the player, is hunting for. If you're hunting for maximum amount of damage, Season or Annihilation 15, Season 40 armor probably will give you that max damage. If you start to notice you're not critting and you have all crit maxed out and you're running Season gloves, you might need to up your Annihilation gloves to 15, and that could solve your answer. If you're like, hey, I don't know how to do mechanics and I'm trying to eat everything, then run full Annihilation, because an extra 20 endurance and an extra 50 crit resist factor is pretty good. It's pretty high, but in my opinion it doesn't beat 7% damage, or 4 plus 3, however you want to look at it. The other thing is if you don't have Annihilation 9 gear and you are just starting, or maybe you've been wondering, hey, what should I run? My Annihilation's plus 3. Do understand that when you have Annihilation 3, you're only getting increased damage by 1%, while all of these armors, the season armors at base, give you basically that 3% damage that Annihilation doesn't have. That is why I would recommend getting your season armor up in the beginning, no matter what. Season armor at 35 is still technically stronger than Annihilation, unless Annihilation is plus 9. If your Annihilation is plus 9, I would not consider swapping it out until at least the armor hits plus 35 and matches its item score. That way you do not lose out on specific dungeon runs. That way, your defense modifier is roughly the same, if not a bit higher, and then it's worth the swap. But again, that's only if you're at plus 9, I would recommend doing that type of change. With that, that is the end of this video when it comes to should I run Annihilation or Season Gear. If you're below Annihilation, run Season Gear. Other than that, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have, go ahead and hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel, as we are on that grind to 1,000 subscribers. And as always, if you got questions, feel free to ask in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer them as fast as I can. With that, I hope you have a fantastic day and night, and I hope to see you in Aboria, gamers.